Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there osia dem yopo.
And I say thinking problem. Lawuratu doesn't agree. We have a thinking problem. Maybe an implementation problem.
I've always maintained that governance is progressive. So if you inherit your predecessor, what they do, you add on to it, you don't retrogress. So you notice that Ghana, under President Kufuor, had a certain lighting system, but when the NDC, under President Evans Atta-Mills, may he so rest in peace, and John Dramani Mahama, puts our streets well lit. So the onus was on the NPP that when they inherited governance from President Mahama, at least they add up and not to abandon the already existing lights. So you notice that you will see a light pole, but the street light on there is not working. It's off. Even with our traffic light system, you get to a certain point. I used Radio Gold route last week. I went to Radio Gold last week. On my way back at Kaneshi First Lights, the traffic light wasn't working. So it was some young people who were standing there with a reflector trying to direct the traffic. And then if you're a good Samaritan, you give them a 1 cedi or 2 cedi, 5 cedi for the effort they are putting in place. So the NDC played their part now. But looking at how this country has retrogressed under the NPP, then it is a very pragmatic point of view to bring up an entire policy just to make sure that our streets are well lit and Ghanaians feel safe.
Annie?
Yes.
See, when we are having conversations, we need to listen to each other and understand where the other person is coming from.
Please, when you're writing, please take your time and write your English well. Okay, he said from Asing North. Okay.
Oh, really?
Thank you for your message. That is from Enchibo Isiako. Please take your time and
it's a bit.
Yeah, jumbled.
Yeah.
Okay. So Annie, let me come in
quickly. I want to take a breather and then we'll come back to.
So if Lawuratu says that when she's talking, I should listen, I listened very critically, and the context in which I spoke was the accountability the NPP had given after their 4 years. So you are saying that if somebody has 1 term, they have the opportunity to now come and give account for the 2nd term. The MPP has enjoyed 8 years. So we are using what you accounted for the 4 years that you got the mandate for the 8 years as a yardstick to measure you. And what she said about President Mahama saying she's the luckiest vice president because his boss was never nepotistic. His boss never appointed over 100 members of his family. His boss never said in the heat of crisis that he cannot solve the mess. The next person who will come after him should be the one we should be looking up to come and solve the mess. President Mahama, as a vice president, this nation enjoyed a single-digit inflation for months. That is the record we are comparing with the vice presidency of Dr. Bawumia. So if you say that Dr. Bawumia has not been president before, glory be to God, he is vice president. President Mahama has been vice president before. So we have that leverage to measure President Mahama's vice presidency vis-a-vis Dr. Bawumia's vice presidency. President Mahama is the head of the economic management.
So you're measuring the vice presidency.
We can do that. We can do that.
Okay.
We can do that. Measuring him as a vice president.
We can do that.
We didn't have this debt to GDP ratio we are seeing now.
We can do that.
The monies that we borrowed as a nation
At least Dr. Bawumia
was 102 billion. Now, Dr. Bawumia, as the head of the economic management team, how much money have you borrowed? Dr. Bawumia, as the head of the economic management team, what is the inflation rate?
Don't
What is the cedi depreciation?
That's against the results you see.
Which results are we seeing? President Mahama, I don't even want to even talk. The central region,
landing sites and
please don't interject.
Okay.
Please. President Mahama as a vice president, Dr. Bawumia as a vice president. What is the inflation rate? The cedi in itself flaws every argument the MPP wants to put up. One, you people rightfully say he's not an economist. So if somebody who is not an economist is able to manage the cedi, and the economic so-called messiah that you people branded to us is not able to even maintain what the one who was not an economist did. What is that? So the NPP, if it's a party that has any level of shame, will not I repeat, and if they have any level of shame, they will not rub in our faces the dollar to CD rate as we are seeing now to that of President Mahama when he was a vice president. Glory be to God, the two of them have been vice presidents, and this is the record they left.
Can I ask you this question? So when you come into office, or when you're able to come into or win power, are you able to bring the dollar down? Or will you be able to bring the dollar down?
And you see, stabilizing the city.
I just lost your voice.
If they were able to stabilize the city from that point of 3 cedi 80 pesos, we wouldn't be here. Economic factors happen day in, day out.
Oh, wow.
So every time there will be a jamboree. But what makes a leader is to stabilize. Are we getting the conversation? What makes a leader is to stabilize. That is why if you read the NDC's manifesto, we have a lot of policies that is geared towards making an import substitution, an export-driven economy, a 24-hour economy where we'll be overly productive and work around the clock so that we stabilize the city, reduce the amount of dollars that we export to go and buy things, stabilize the city, and make sure that the city as it is running now is not running. If we do all of that...
Remember Nanado gave us that promise?
Hold on. Nanado's promise that he gave, they were not vis-a-vis any policy. I should be considered wrong. Did he give you any plan or roadmap as to how he was going to do that? No. We as a party, NDC, President Mahama, based on his experience in the presidency, have given a roadmap. And that roadmap is saying that there should be an agricultural scheme, the red oil, the red gold policy. The red gold policy is saying that as a nation, we spend 250,000 tons of red oil, but we only generate 50,000 tons. And then we buy over $200 million. When you look at our neighboring countries, Cote d'Ivoire, they use 300,000 tons, but they produce 600,000 tons. And they export and they get money into their system. That is why their dollar to their currency rate is stabilized. So if we are even using just the red gold that we call in our policy, if we are saving ourselves from having to import $200 million worth of just red oil, and now we are producing over 250,000 tons more than what we need. If we are producing a double, which is a 500,000, we are going to be having a free flow of the dollar into our system every time. And then you tell me, with this plan that we have, where will the city break loose and go? Where? The plan for an import substitution. Where will the city break loose and go?
But that's if the plan, is able to carry through, or we're able to carry the plan through.
Yes.
Yeah, you can have the plan, but if you're not able to carry it through, then that would be the plan.
And every time I say that, if somebody has a plan, a manifesto is a set of promises. But what makes a good manifesto different from any other manifesto is when that manifesto has a road plan and tells you exactly the areas from which they are going to tackle issues from. And this is one of the areas, red gold.
Okay.
And then Lawuratu mentions from where I come from and all of that. Mori is my father's hometown. We call it Mori. My hometown is in Pesediaze, and they are all in the Abra Ase Bukwa Mankese constituency. So if Lawuratu says that the people of Mori have had their lives to be better, that is a blatant lie. Because you know what? The outboard motor that they use for fishing along the coast, you cannot buy them now. And initially, under NDC President Mahama's presidency, the outboard motor, they were buying it with the chief fisherman as the frontier. So if I am a fisherman and I need an outboard motor, I'll go to the chief fisherman, they register my name, and I pay a certain amount to a bank, and government, under President Mahama, foot half of the bill. So that is how the government was cushioning these fishermen. And then we talk about the premise fuel. Today, the price of premise fuel has soared, and they cannot even have access to the premise fuel as it may.
What do you mean?
I went to Elmina some time back to go and engage with the fisher folks there.
When?
And what they tell you, just somewhere last month, what they tell you is that now the premise fuel, they don't get it as it is that those times you see the barrels and drums there, so you buy the amount that you need for your work. But now, when the cars come in, they don't even come in, their numbers as they were supposed to. When it comes, they give the MPP chairman one, they give the women organizer part, and they are left with a few to scramble for at a price that is thrice the price of what they were buying under President Mahama. And now the new policy they have given out to them is that even the boats that they use for fishing, they have decreased the dimensions that they use. Now they have demarcated the sea. So if you are fishing in Mori, you cannot cross and go to Elmina to fish. But we all know that per the fishing, as it is, the fish migrate. So at a point, people from Mori will get probably what we call amani. Then they migrate because they move. This season they are here, the next season they are in Cape Coast. So people get it as it is.
What's the idea behind the demarcation of fishing areas?
Ask them.
There's no reason behind
it. Ask them. So one of the key things that one fisherman asked me, and I couldn't provide the answers, and I felt that I was short on knowledge there, was that he said, now that our Comson closes the sea at a point and opens it at a point, he wants to ask us, when did the fish inform government that this is the period they give birth?
By experience, by over a period of studying the geography of.
So what they are saying is that if you close it here, and the fish, as I explained earlier, they migrate. So you've closed it at this point. Per how they migrate and pass through our seas, by the time you open, no matching.
No, I don't get it. Are they saying that Hawa Kumsin is not getting the right season?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't understand how the whole thing is run. But painfully, when the sea is closed and the fisher folks cannot go about.
But why have they sat on this for 8 good years and they've not been able to give?
They tell you, and the radio stations out there are doing a great job. They are always talking about it. And one thing that I find so precarious about what Lawuratu is saying is that if she wants to know, around that same enclave, there was a fisheries college that they have abandoned.
Because if you learn about the ecosystem or maybe the water bodies and maybe the fishes, you should, it's not something you have a choice.
So you need an expert.
So you need an expert to help you.
Yes. That is why the Fisheries College was established at that area. And what have they done to the college? They closed it down. They didn't continue it for it to become operationalized. Till date, you see the remnants of what President Mahama started at that point. And there was a nice project that was done on the Elmina coast, where you go there and you have a sort of a cold room, we store the excesses from the catch they get for the day. What have they done to those storage points, the strong cold rooms? They have reduced it to a facility that is producing ice block.
For coastal?
No, they are selling ice block. So if you are having a funeral and then you go there, you buy ice block. That was not the purpose of that facility. That was not the purpose.
And just
the facility for the fishes education or school?
No, the facility for the college they have abandoned.
Okay.
And there is another facility at the coast of Elmina that was supposed to be, you see, when you go fishing and there is excess, they have to sell it at cheap price. And when it comes to the point where we are not fishing much, then we have to rely on imports. So in the vision of President Mahama, he built that edifice there so that we store the SSS. And there was a processing plant where the gills and other things that we throw away would have been processed into a feed for poultry.
Luisa.
So that facility is what they have turned into an ice block facility.
In Elmina?
In Elmina.
Luisa.
Okay.
Please give this to Annie. Let her read what is there.
So this one says that, Annie, please, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Annie, read what is there.
In Wejagbawe Assembly, a street lights have been given to the MPP PC, and he has his branded pictures on it all. So please tell Lawuratu that to know that what they are doing, to know their doings.
Another
in the
texter said
politics
NDC.
with sharing
Annie,
of the street lights. What do you want me to read?
Read what is there. What do you see there?
Fishermen operating from the Busonche Sam Fishing Harbour.
No, go back to the stories. Go back.
Which of the story? Is it?
All of them. Just read the headlines.
Okay, fishing trawlers in bumper harvest after close down. October 2021. October 2021.
So read all these
And
things.
then we have fishermen record bumper harvest after end of close season.
What year is that?
2022.
Go
on. Fishers expect bumper harvest ahead of close season, August 2024.
So what is Luisa talking about?
And I am telling you on authority,
hold on.
if you go to a
I'm sorry.
What is Luisa talking about?
If you go to Cape Coast,
I'm sorry.
The minister doesn't
So
understand
sorry.
the season.
Sorry. They
The
expect.
people
Hold
who
on. The
are there
2024.
that she's working with.
The 2024.
Yes.
It says that fishers expect
Exactly. But based on what? Based on
close
previous
season.
years. Based
Now
on
it's-
what?
now-
Yeah, but the point she's making is that the
now
season.
performance
No, what the
You
point
get it.
she's
So what's
making.
the
The point she's
now
making is that.
Talk about.
She's
no, but it's based
Lawuratu,
on
no.
How do you
Lawuratu,
do it?
she-
What did you say your manifesto was written? What did you say? You said on experience. How do you build experience? Isn't it based on previous years? So what are you talking
what the story is saying
What
is
are you talking about? Have you seen that? Have you seen that?
expectation is
Have you
already.
listened to the
and
2022
I'm telling you the reality
What are you
on the
talking
ground.
about? Stop the propaganda.
You have correspondence in the central. That is the reality on the ground. What of the outward?
That the minister
What of the price of the premium
closing of the
fuel?
season when
What of the
people
prices of the
themselves are
outward?
saying they are getting
What of
bumper
the
harvest after the
reduction
season?
in the dimension of the
CPI
cost?
they use?
But she raised a couple of issues, not just the bumper season.
You see the
or the
reality.
Nobody has.
You see, they reduced the conversation to nothing.
Nobody has talked about. You asked her about what question did you ask her that she was going on and on about if they can bring the dollar down?
I gave
This
a
was
plan.
the same person who was saying that when a question is asked and you don't have the answer,
I gave a
you go
plan.
round,
I
round, round,
explained
round,
my
round. You
plan.
said that could she give a yes or no
I
answer? She
explained my
couldn't.
plan with policies.
That's why I said there's a policy
explained my
approach to
plan.
it. Look, if the NEC,
She's
when they
talked.
pick the
Hold on.
dollar,
She has talked about.
when the
She's
NDC
talked about
Honey, let me
the
make a
album
point.
motors and who is managing
When
it
the
now.
NDC
She has talked about the premix fuel and who is managing it now.
Do you know
And then she also talked
distribution
about
of
the
premix
close
fuel has
season.
been digitalized for some of the places.
The what?
The
Digitalized.
distribution, yes. It's like
It's been
they do it
digitalized.
Get it.
How
Talk to the
so
premix
how are
fuel.
the
We
fishermen?
were in this country where even when
You see,
flooding
there's a
was happening,
holistic
the
approach to
solution
it.
was an
If
app.
the NDC,
I'm not surprised.
If the NDC, when they picked the dollar, when President Kufuor left office at 1.20 pesos, and it hadn't increased, I would have deferred everything to Luisa. But they left it at what? We sat in this country when they told us that high-rise building was causing inflation. Dwarfs were stealing money from Bank of Ghana. That's why
You sat in this
inflation
country
and
and people
exchange
told
rate
us you don't
was
eat
going up.
infrastructure.
You get it? So now you're asking her how to bring the CD down. She can't tell you.
I gave you a
But
plan.
at least
Then
she's talking
probably
about
you're not
export substitution. How best to push that, if not through 1D1F, enhancing local production of what we consume, building factories in your country so that you reduce importation. What have they done? Is it the 4 years that their flag bearer said it's not enough for a president to do anything, that they are coming to implement
We
that?
have not
Go for
digitalized
oil.
fishing activities in
No,
Ghana.
I didn't say
We've
fishing
not.
activities.
But what?
I said the distribution of the
Premix fuel.
Premix fuel.
We've
There's some level of
digitalized it.
digitalization to it.
So
About
how does it work?
300 of them and all that.
So how does it work?
Go for oil.
How does it
it's
work?
one of
Lawuratu.
the interventions that
This
has
point
been
you've made, I want
introduced
explanation
to
for
make
it.
sure
How
that
does it work?
our exchange
And
rate
you've given us a lot of 1.1
is reduced.
billion.
You get it. But you sit down here, you don't say
You've given
anything. You
us
are
a
talking
lot of
about the
1.1
future when the
billion.
things you are talking about are being
The
happened.
1D1
If
is
a
not a
party
future
can go
project.
as
It is
slow as
happening
saying-
now.
If a
So
party
why
can
is
go
the
as
city
slow
running?
as saying
No,
no,
if
come
you
and
say
do
1D1,
paternity
it is
test.
happening now.
That is a paternity
It is happening now.
when it's already
1D1F, I didn't know
and you come and sit down and say it's based on
So why is
what
the city still
experience?
running?
What experience? At this point, that His Excellency the President is pushing, His Excellency the Vice President is pushing for interventions that will make life easier. At this time, in 2016, what were we told? That the President of the Republic then told us that he has developed the dead goat syndrome. Today, have you heard any of the President or the Vice President say such
I
things?
asked you something, you didn't answer.
You get it.
This is from
Such
Ghana Web.
thing.
We now
And you're a
understand
journalist,
what
contact
digitization really
the
means.
premix,
Fishermen to Baumia
secretariat.
after digitization of premix fuel.
What did you say?
So, excited Ghanaian fisher folks have poured commendations on Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia following a digitization of distribution of premix fuel to fisher folks in Ghana. Now, Dr. Baumia, Tuesday, September 4, 2023, commissioned a automated premix fuel dispensing and monitoring system, a landmark digital initiative which enables fisher folks to directly access the quantity of premixed fuel they required at pumps using the digital canoe identification cards, which contains their biodata with other important data which are linked to the vessels. Now, the initiative rates the fishing industry of corruption in their distribution of fuel, and farmers no longer have to rely on middlemen for supplies. Responding to the transformative initiative, the fishermen were elated that government digitization driven has reached their industry and commended Dr. Bawumia for the efforts and commitment to the realization of the initiative. So that is what yourself. I researched
You've
about.
Answered yourself. So what I said is not a lie.
I asked you a question and you failed to answer. So
I
researched myself.
I said you were a journalist. Check.
Annie,
and you just did what
but if you
I told you
see, Lawuratu, you see, it's not for me. It's not my job. It's not my job to communicate on behalf of government. That's why you're here. So when you come and I don't have any information and I ask you a certain level of, please, hold on. It's not mine. It's not just mine. I asked you that. So I asked you explain. So if you mention digitization, and I say Lawuratu, and I say,
how do I know how it works? I know that the distribution of premixed fuel has been digitalized.
So you're saying that as a government communicator, all you can say that it's been digitized and you leave it there.
What is digitalization?
Is that all you can say?
What is digitalization?
It doesn't affect
what
the
is
price.
Digitalization?
It doesn't affect the 300% increase in the price.
No. I mean, I've done the search. I've read it.
Exactly.
So don't worry. What at all can this Electoral Commission of Ghana get done without a hitch is a question. 1. Stolen BVR and BVD kits. 2. Arithmetic errors during limited voters registration exercise blamed on Coral Draw. 3. Serial network challenges. 4. Systematic manipulation of a voters register. 5. Procurement. And then it says that, okay, that one is a campaign. But it says that still keeping eagle eye on the Electoral Commission and the MPP. Hashtag eagle eye. Luisa.
Honey.
I'm not sure how the NDC is going into this election. Whether you're going into it with full trust, or you're going with an eagle eye, or what exactly are you going with?
Just as our director said, we are going into it with an eagle eye. I'm very surprised, and indeed, I'm surprised at myself that I'm surprised that EC will put out this release. And then cap not true and put it in bolding to lay emphasis. But that's just it. The issue that we are looking at is that, Annie, the EC sought to start printing ballot papers and notice of polls from when? October 11th, 2024. Today is, what is today's date? 28th. This release is 27th, yesterday. And then from the checks, they have not printed a single ballot paper. So the claims that EC is putting out now, even not a public relation gimmick, that they said they have developed a fault. So throughout October 11th.
Did the EC release this statement on the back of the NDC's complaint?
That is it, because it's making reference to Dr.
NDC. Exactly.
If we hadn't raised the issues, they wouldn't have acted. So I asked myself, from 11th October up until 27th, if we are even taking out the weekends out of 14 days, and you tell us that we are running on a calendar, and if you don't permit for things to run smoothly, it's going to affect the outcome of the election on 7 December. You give a contract to somebody, and for 14 days they are not working, and you are not concerned. And the flimsy excuse afterthought is that they have a fault. One of the key questions I ask is that we go there day in, day out. I visit Radio Gold every week, and the Asako Printed Press Limited is not too far from Radio Gold. I pass by and you see the presence of the police around, and you see the rep of the other parties around, and nothing is happening. The NPP as a political party, they do not have reps, agents and supervisors at that printing press. They didn't raise it. And that is not surprising, Annie. I would want us to have a look at the regions involved before I delve into the issues that is pertaining to the delays in printing the ballot papers and all of that. The OT region and the Western North region were the regions that were given to the said printing press to print presidential and parliamentary for. In the OT region, the parliamentary, the NDC has 8 out of 8. The constituencies are 8, and NDC has all the 8 seats. If you look at the election results from 2020, NDC had 181,021 and 21. NPP has 103,865. The difference is a 77,156, with NDC winning that region. We come to the Western North region. The constituencies are 9, and NDC has 6 of the seats out of the 9. And for the presidential, NDC got a whopping 192,460 against that of the NPP, 161,560. And the difference is 30,900. You add 30,900 to 77,000, you have over 107,000 votes. We are looking at that the NDC has over the NPP from the 2020 election analysis. Now, this is the printing press that is supposed to print for these 2 regions that are predominantly the strongholds of the NDC. And for 14 days, they were not printing. NPP has a rep there. Why didn't they raise any issues? And it brings us down to the procurement issues that Dr. Manibwama is talking about. If we are looking at the Public Procurement Act of Ghana, EC is a government institution. So they are mandated to do their activities under the Public Procurement Act of the nation. And one of the key things that it looks at is technical capability, experience, and pricing when you are giving out any government projects to somebody to execute. Now, the technical capability, that is where we come at, from what Dr. Manibwama said, and vis-a-vis what the EC is telling us now. EC is telling us that Yasako Press have been printing from 1998. Please, which year are we in? 2024. Anything happens at any point in time. So if you are giving out a contract, no matter the day, the month, and the week, what you seek to do is to test their technical capabilities. Yeah. As we speak now, the register we have in 2024 is not even the same as 2020. Numbers have increased, yes or no? So if they were printing in 1998, the capacity in 1998 is not the same as 2024. This is simple logic. The institution of home and common sense. 1998, the numbers they were supposed to print,
have you spoken with Yasako?
It's not the same as 2024.
Have you been able to pick up your own primary information from Yasako Press?
The primary information I picked from the Yasako Press is that the owner of the company, whose name they use for the incorporation, the Yasako name, the man is no more. Okay. So it is being run by his sons and other entities who were working with him at a stance. That notwithstanding, we are in 2024 and you gave them some 2 regions to print. You were supposed to test that their technical capability from 1998, is it the same as 2024? Can they print the numbers you are requiring them to print? Would they be able to deliver on the 3rd day that you need it? All of these things were not checked. So if this is not a procurement breach, what is it? Then the other issues that I want to ask this morning, these are simple questions I want to ask the ordinary Ghanaian, so they listen to all of us, is that the Ashanti region is there. Why was the Yasako Press not printing for Ashanti region? It is the question. Why is the Yasako Press not printing for the Eastern region? This is the question.
Is it a recent development?
I am asking. Because when they were giving out the contracts to people to the printing houses to deliver, they knew their capability from the EC's own press release. They said they've been printing from 1998. So if what they are saying is even something to go by, then it means that they trust in the capability of Yasako. Why didn't they give them Ashanti region to print?
So even in giving out the contracts, Ashanti and Eastern were taking out of what was given to Yasako?
Yasako is printing only for OT region and then the Western North region. They are printing for both presidential and parliamentary for OT region and Western region.
But by history, they had printed for the whole country before.
Not the whole country, but per how they demarcate, sticking to the rules now. They gave out different regions to different outlets. So why didn't they give Ashanti region to Yasako? It's the critical question I'm asking. Okay. Looking at the analysis of the voting pattern and the dominance of the NDC in the areas that they gave to Yasako, who has proven that they are not capable of delivering this contract.
Okay.
The other key question I would want us to ask and talk about is that this issue is raising a serious concern of the public trust in EC. The EC puts out an advert, they put out releases that we should trust them. This morning, I want to let them know that trust is not given on a silver platter. Actions, actions, actions. The actions in which you engage yourself in and how the electioneering processes is being manned is what will let the people have the trust that we are looking for in the EC. It is not in anybody's interest that the EC will not be trusted, because if we trust the EC, our job as even a party in opposition would have been easier. We would be campaigning and going up and down. This morning, as we sit here discussing these discrepancies of the EC, I would have been selling my party policy to the ordinary Ghanaian, but we are here discussing their shortfall. These are the things that are making the trust in the EC go down. And the other thing is that as a party, this morning I am here as a messenger to tell Ghanaians that no matter what will happen in this electioneering process, first off, that happened was that the leadership of the EC, appointments of the EC, there were issues with that. The other part, biometric verification devices got missing, and everybody knows the office of EC, how secure that place is. Till date, we do not have an account for what happened there. We moved on to the illegal transfer of voters from various parts.
Have we been able to
and that of Pusiga, that is what they asked us that they are going to bring the register after the
correction,
the re-exhibition. So we are waiting for that register to
We're still waiting for the register.
For the re-exhibition, when they were done, we are waiting for them to come. And then to be on record, we in the NDC already have everything we are supposed to have as far as the register is concerned from our own sources. We have done our own internal checks, and then we know the credible register that we are supposed to work with. And then from the BVD machine missing.
Just let me note this point. Even if you have your register and everything, it has to be certified by the
No, I'm saying that the EC is supposed to give.
Yeah.
But from what they gave earlier, that we found the illegalities that we raised concerns with, we have taken notes of the areas that there were issues with. So we are waiting for them to come back, because they said they are going to come back, and then we will still do the vis-a-vis and see if indeed the corrections have been made. That is the eagle eye we are talking about. So now we go to Pusiga, the illegal transfers. It was done, and then you said you have made an arrest. To date, what has happened to the Pusiga issues? We don't know about that. And then today, we wake up and you give a contrast without doing due diligence, and then you want to compare 1998 capacity to 2024 technical capabilities. So what we are saying is very simple. If they want trust for us to impose trust in the EC, what they ought to do is to come clean to the people of Ghana and make the electioneering process free of biases. Because when I gave the voter analysis for these two regions, it is looking as if. So they should take the as if from there and work accordingly without any biases, so that we have this election on a free, leveled playing ground, and then the peace of Ghana will be maintained.
Okay,
the NDC is committed to maintaining the peace in this democracy, because we birthed the Fourth Republic in 1992.
So Prosper said that, Danny, good morning. I seem to have a problem with the EC. When it comes to educating people on this election and how to vote, the NDC is rather teaching people how to vote, while the EC is interested in pushing their budget into creating adverts to clean their image and referring to parties who have prompted some mishaps and ill situations as Yanum. When will the EC begin to teach how voting is done? As for the NCC, the least said about them, the better. What a country. Okay. So Obama says that asking why Yasako wasn't assigned to print ballot papers for Ashanti or Eastern is absurd. and the poor attempt to chastise the EC for nothing, which human institutions is without error. The most important thing is how the errors are corrected when identified, and this EC must be very proactive on that. This attempt by the NEC guys to always engage the red herrings rather than training their agents on basic collating of results is what will keep them in perpetual opposition. You see, Lawuratu, let me bring you in.
Yes, I'll stick to the EC's release because that's the information we all have. But with all that is going on, I'm beginning to think that the Director of Elections and Information Technology for the NDC doesn't understand his job. And I'm also wondering, isn't he tired of being accused of peddling falsehood and putting information that is not true? Isn't he tired? Is that how he's supposed to help win election? I'll read the last line. All political parties and the independent candidates contesting in the 2024 general election have been notified of this change. So you are giving information by the EC. Ideally, there's IPAC. The political parties on the ballot have already been identified. So every information, now they have their contacts and everything. So any information should go directly to them. But the EC has to come out with this, I presume, because Dr. Manibuama decided to do mischief with the information they were given. There were eight. If you are giving information and want to turn around the information, the people who gave you the information have to come and clarify it. Because from what is written here and from the accounts being given, what Dr. Omanibuama shared is not true.
What Dr. Omanibuama shared was the fact, pointing to the fact that he failed to do due diligence before.
So let me make my point on that. There were 8 printing houses that were assigned to do the printing. And over the years, multiple print houses have been the ones doing it. The core business of these businesses is printing. Their business doesn't come to a halt just because EC has given them a contract. In certain cases, I know certain print houses that even augment based on their capacity, augment their tools. These printing houses are using machines. Even on a day-to-day, our computers, our printers at our workplaces break down. So if a company that has been given a contract that has a defined timeline tells the EC that they can no longer do what they've been asked to do because a major equipment, a critical equipment for the process has broken down, and the EC has communicated that, how does that become an issue? Maybe he should explain for us too. And this is Luisa here just alluded to the fact that the company is having its own issues because the owner has died. So obviously, management will be the same over the years.
So
but whenever you are bidding for a contract, apart from the experience, you are also required to have similar experience. So because they've been printing since 1998, they definitely have similar or relevant experience that qualifies them to be. And don't also forget that all these print houses have different capacity. We've all heard about backpress, InnoLink, and all those. It was my EC releasing their statement was my first time of hearing of Yasako, probably I haven't been following. But they assign work based on the capacity of these print houses. So asking the question why Yasako is not printing Ashanti or Eastern is neither here nor there.
Lawuratu is for EC now.
Because at the end of the day, you are giving it's just like your media house. You have multiple channels. The assignment that may be given to you will not be the same as one standing radio station or one standing TV station. People may prefer to do business with you because when they come to your business, they have TV, they have radio, they have English, they have Akan. Rather than going to a radio station, stand and let us probably either using Akan or any other local language or just using English. So capacities differ, and all these things are assessed during when applications or the proposals are being assessed. So this question of why are there no printing? But let's make one thing clear. We've had elections since when? 1992, 1996, till 2024. We've improved on our electoral processes. We've come a long way. This country, Ghana, is one country that we have. There isn't another one that if this Ghana is not peaceful, we can move to. We are going for a general election. We are the two leading parties, just as other dispensations. I mean, US is voting in about 90s. Eyes are on Republicans and Democrats. In Ghana, eyes are on the NPP and the NDC. So how we antagonize the referee should be looked at. And Dr. Manibuama, I think, since he became director, has been doing this consistently. And you wonder, but that also goes to the fact that when the NDC is in opposition, they don't trust any state institution. Nothing any state institution does is that when it's in their favor, the institution is fantastic. When it goes against them,
election is a process.
Election is a
And
process,
it starts
yes.
from what we're doing.
Honey.
Hold on.
Yes.
It's a process,
Yes.
right? They mentioned the stolen BVR and BVD.
Yes.
Not so. The EC came out to say it's not true.
Yes.
And later admitted it's true. Not so.
And dealt with it. I think they sanctioned the
No,
officers or something like that.
I'm not about what they dealt with.
Yes.
I'm about the communication,
Yes.
the process. They came to, in fact, we even thought it was an allegation. We reported as, have alleged that computers and BVRs are missing. The EC said it's not true. And then later they came to admit that it's true.
After doing their investigation.
Then they talked about arithmetic mistakes, which was very true because we also, on the EC's
That was
blogs,
just the
and
infographics they were putting on their
yes,
socials,
and the EC
not the
even
data they have.
Yes, but the EC came to say that they're using Coral Draw. And they even said now they are using Excel. And because they're using Excel, they cannot generate the infographics,
So
which is not true. Excel can be used to generate infographics, even accurate ones, you can use to generate them. Then the EC talked about, they also brought about the issue of vote transfers and other matters in the register. The EC came to admit. So I'm not seeing where you are raising the point that
Honey,
they keep throwing lies at
so
the
maybe
EC.
if you let
But
me
the EC
finish
keeps
my, because if
coming
you
back to defend
interject
and
like this, then
admitting that it's true.
you
No, I'm
break my
only
flow.
making this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
but when you interject like that, you break my flow. I was making my point.
You continue. I wanted
my
you
point
to
because
take
I made
note
a
of
statement.
these
Of course,
happenings.
I'm coming there. The BVR machines came up. EC came out and released a statement. And I don't speak for the EC. The MPP, the New Patriotic Party, has sat in IPAC throughout, is part of the process. So we are an interest party. Information that the EC gives us is what we go by. They came with the BVR issues. The EC did their investigations and named the officers that were culpable. And if my memory serves me right, they sanctioned them or something.
What did they
and said they were going to do it. I'll need to verify that my memory is correct. Then we moved on to the exhibition. Why are registers exhibited? They are exhibited so that the errors can be corrected and the final voter register given to political parties and independent candidates who are part of the election. Dr. Manibuama and his team said they had found 250,000 errors. They petitioned EC. They went on a demonstration across the country, all the 16 regions. I mean, generally peaceful. Presented a petition to the EC. The EC engaged them. Bring the data you have, because the exhibition we did was to pick up these errors and rectify them so the register is not filled with errors. So we are working on the errors we have identified. and the errors that our attention has been drawn to. Bring your 250,000 that you have till date. I don't know if it's this morning that they've given that to EC. EC responded to their petition. The release was out there. On the back of that, for the first time in our election process, there was a live telecast of IPAC meeting. All the political parties and independent political parties were there. Bring your 250,000 errors still. I think they mentioned about 2 or 3, and even out of the 3, there was only 1 that was outstanding. That passed. Then now we are here. That's a company that has been printing ballot papers since 1998. That's Luisa here. I don't know the company. I don't know, but Luisa here attests to the fact that they are having management issues because the owner is no more. I mean, that's a semblance of most
I never said
one
issues.
Man. I mean, I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not quoting. I'm just paraphrasing.
They are having management
okay, you didn't say that, but you admitted that they have some issues because the owner is no more. You said that. So if they have come and said a critical machine has gone down and the EC has probably why are they not asking why out of the 7 left, it was back press and axe commercial that were allocated what Yasako cannot print. Annie, we've gone through 2 election petitions in this country. In 2012, the MPP took the declaration to court. We saw the evidence that the New Patriotic Party produced. Okay. Fast forward 2020, the NDC took it to court, couldn't provide evidence. Even using a calculator was a challenge for their current chairman, who was then their general secretary. They had no evidence. I don't think till date they can even tell us what they can. That is why I say that I doubt if Dr. Bawumia understands what I said. Dr. Maneboama understands. Of course, my candidate is winning, inshallah, so his name will always come back. I doubt if Dr. Maneboama understands his job.
Clearly.
Because CI-91.
You have said it.
CI-126. Luisa, please.
Land, time is up.
CI-91.
How you landed
CI-126. CI-127 is there to guide the process.
Okay.
Their flag bearer told us that the EC should be left to do their job in 2016. I don't think it has changed. Okay. Their current chairman, then their general secretary, said there are a lot of laws, enough laws in our legislation to deal with these issues. And I don't think that has changed. Okay. They should go and learn how to collate results. And let's have a peaceful and stop throwing these red herrings, preparing their supporters for defeat. This is the noise before the defeat for NDC. And inshallah, we are telling them they should go and learn collation of results so that inshallah, when Dr. Bawumia is declared, they won't come burning ties at the EC. Okay. They won't come shouting along the streets. Okay. They'll take it in good faith.
All right. Okay. Our time is up. Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
1 minute.
I'm wondering why Lawuratu is spilling lies all over the place.
I take exception to
that.
that.
The EC is working.
Point out the lie that I told.
The EC themselves
Annie,
reference Dr. Maneboama here. And then the fact that Dr. Maneboama raised the issue.
Let her point
Are we not here saying that they have cancelled the contract of Yasako? Yeah. So where is the lie Dr. Maneboama keeps telling?
Annie.
Yeah, but
let her read the last
EC said paragraph. That they had notified all the parties.
Read the last paragraph.
And then again, Annie, I would want to say this and make it short. I would want to tell Ghanaians like myself, Ghanaians who are not beneficiaries of corruption, Ghanaians who are not beneficiaries of the mess, Ghanaians who are not beneficiaries of nepotism and cronyism, I would want to tell them that if they make the mistake of voting Dr. Bawumia into office on 7 December 2024, we are going to see a pro-max of the $58 million that have been sunk into the national hole. If we make that mistake and vote for Dr. Bawumia, the Pualuku Dam that he says is the flagship policy that he has done, If he can even lie to his own people, how much more you and I? If we make that mistake and vote for him, we will continue to pay people who are working at the home when they are not rendering any services to the nation. And the only way we can build the Ghana that we all want is to look at the policies of John Dramani Mahama that says 24-hour economy and the Women's Development Bank for Women, the National Apprenticeship Program for the youth, and then we say that experience is what we are counting on to vote this year, and President Mahama and Professor Nana are the perfect pair of hands for Ghana.
Okay, so never been accused of corruption.
Let me mention Musa Abatwa and CAF Chancellor. Today is your birthday, and you're celebrating it with my former GJA President, Afil Moni. So happy birthday to
happy birthday, Uncle Moni.
To you, Musa Abatwa, and CAF Chancellor as well. I hope you have a blast today. That's what time will allow us on the show. Thank you, ladies.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal le Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.